This episode of Liberty Lines is brought to you in part by...
It is important to understand that the Constitution does not create rights for anyone. It simply serves as a grant of power to and a blueprint for the structure of the federal government. The rights of the people existed before the founding of the United States. You do not have constitutional rights. You just have rights. To protect them, you must understand them. The book, A Republic If You Can Keep It, can help you with that understanding. Available at patsanswers.com/blog. Click on the Store tab. $16.95 plus shipping and handling. All major credit cards are accepted. Buy it today.
Welcome to Liberty Lines. I'm your host, Pat Kansor. From Fox News on the 14th of February this year, President Joe Biden is calling for gun control measures on the third anniversary of the shooting at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, which led to 17 fatalities. Today, as we mourn with the Parkland community, we mourn for all who have lost loved ones to gun violence, Biden said in a statement in which he urged Congress to take several actions. Today, I am calling on Congress to enact common sense gun law reforms, including requiring background checks on all gun sales, banning assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, and eliminating immunity for gun manufacturers who knowingly put weapons of war on our streets, Biden said. We owe it to all those we've lost and to all those left behind to grieve, to make a change. The time to act is now, said Biden. Thomas Jefferson said, laws that forbid the carrying of arms disarm only those who are neither inclined nor determined to commit crimes. Such laws make things worse for the assaulted and better for the assailants. They serve rather to encourage rather than prevent homicides. For an unarmed man may be attacked with greater confidence than an armed man. When the Second Amendment was written, we had just fought a war for our independence on our own soil. During the time leading up to that war, the colonies had established a defense force in three parts. The Continental Army, professional, full-time soldiers. The Minutemen, a kind of National Guard or Army Reserve made up of professionally trained part-time soldiers. And the militia, which was pretty much every other available male that might be called on in an emergency to defend their city, town, community. These men received only a little training, mostly how to properly establish a stash of emergency supplies, who was in charge in case of an emergency, and basic military field commands like advance, retreat, flank left, flank right, and so forth. This training was mostly done by local Minutemen when it was available at all. These were not soldiers per se, they were regular citizens who were supposed to be the last resort. But during the war, fighting broke out in towns and communities all over the colonies, and the militia found themselves, rifle in hand, having to defend their homes and families. Without these brave men holding their ground, until the Army or Minutemen arrived, we would have lost the war. After the war, there was talk of disarming the militia because England had been defeated, so they were no longer needed. The founding fathers, George Washington in particular, made sure to codify in the Bill of Rights the right for all citizens to keep and bear arms on the off chance that they might one day have to, once again, rise up in defense of their homes and families, or to throw off the bonds of an oppressive government. In a letter to his friend George Mason, Washington wrote, "At a time when our lordly masters in Great Britain will be satisfied with nothing less than the deprivation of American freedom, it seems highly necessary that something should be done to avert the strife and maintain the liberty which we have derived from our ancestors. But the manner of doing it to answer the purpose effectually is the point in question, that no man should scruple or hesitate a moment to use arms in defense of so valuable a blessing on which all the good and evil of life depends, is clearly my opinion." Yet arms, I would beg leave to add, should be the last resort. Addresses to the throne and remonstrances to Parliament we have already, and it is said, prove the inefficiency of. How far, then, their attention to our rights and privileges is to be awakened or alarmed by starving their trade and manufacturers remains to be tried. The reason that the Second Amendment is written is not open to honest historical interpretation. There are arguments made out of ignorance and arguments made out of malice. The actual arguments of the founders, well supported by their correspondents, are unambiguous. Thomas Jefferson said the strongest reason for the people to retain the right to keep and bear arms is, as a last resort, to protect themselves from tyranny in government. Today we have senators, representatives, the executive branch, and even in some cases the Supreme Court forgetting their oath of office to support and defend and preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Instead of doing this, they are as close to an act of treason as one could get by declaring that they have a right to change what the Constitution means and was written to mean. Anyone who takes positive action to counter the Constitution as it was written is and should be considered an enemy to freedom as a nation we love so dearly. It is up to us, we the people, to ensure that the Constitution is not destroyed by those whom have opinions that the people should not be armed. That's my take on it. What's yours? Send me an email at librarian@patsanswers.com and let me know what you think. And share the link to this video with your friends. This has been Liberty Lines on Pat's Answers Archives. I'm your host, Pat Kansor. Join us again next time, won't you please? This episode of Liberty Lines has been brought to you by... The smallest things can mean so much when it comes to saying, I love you. They encourage a stronger connection all year long. Give and get peace of mind. Purchasing life insurance is one of the best ways to show your loved ones just how much you care. A life insurance policy is a big step in helping to protect the financial future of those who matter most. To learn more about life insurance from American Family Life Insurance Company, connect with John Hagee, American Family Insurance Agent, Hollister, Missouri. He can help you understand what amount of coverage is right for your needs and walk you through different options to get the protection your loved ones deserve. American Family Insurance, John Hagee Agent, 2527 South Business Highway 65 in Hollister, Missouri. Phone number 417-334-0704. Email jhagee@amfam.com.